Number system. In this video session, we are going to learn about numbers. Friends, numbers can be divided into two parts or two categories: real numbers and imaginary numbers. Further, real numbers can also be divided into two categories: rational numbers and irrational numbers. And further, rational numbers can be divided into following categories or classes: natural numbers, whole numbers, integers, prime numbers, and composite numbers. And further, natural numbers can also be classified or divided into two classes. The first one is even numbers and the second one is odd numbers. So one by one we will learn about these numbers. So let's start with natural numbers. Natural numbers are counting numbers, means all those numbers which we use in counting are natural numbers, and this begins with 1, further 2, 3, 4, and so on to infinity. Hence, the very first natural number or the smallest natural number is 1, but we cannot find the highest natural number since it is infinity. Hence, counting numbers are natural numbers. Next one is whole numbers. When we add 0 in the group or set of natural numbers, then we get whole numbers, the set of whole numbers. Hence, whole numbers begins with 0 and further 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on to infinity. Hence, it is quite clear that 0 is the smallest whole number, and as far as the highest whole number is concerned, we cannot find it because it is infinity. Next one is integers. Integers are a group or set of whole numbers with negative and positive signs. Integers are group or set of whole numbers with negative and positive signs. For example, -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. Here -5 is negative integer and 1. Here -5 is negative integer and 1 or 2 are positive integers. 0 we call neutral integer. Hence, integers are group or set of whole numbers with negative or positive sign. Let's move further. The next one is prime numbers. Prime numbers are those numbers which are greater than 1 and divisible by only 1 and itself. Means, in another words, we can say prime numbers are those numbers which have only two factors. The first one is 1 and the second one is the number itself. For example, 2 or 7 or 17 or 19 and so on. Here let us consider 7. 7 is divisible by 1 and 7 itself. None other than 1 and 7 is divisible by. Hence, 7 is a prime number. Similarly, 17 is also a prime number. 19 is also a prime number. 2 is also a prime number. Now here we should know that 2 is the only prime number which is an even number also. Hence, prime numbers are those numbers which are divisible by 1 and the number itself, or in other words, we can say that prime numbers are those numbers which have only two factors. The first factor is 1 and the second one is the number itself. Let's move forward. The next one is composite numbers. Composite numbers are those numbers which are divisible by 1 itself and other numbers also. In other words, we can say that composite numbers have more than two factors. For example, 6. Now 6 is divisible by 1, is divisible by 2, is divisible by 3, is divisible by 6. Here we can see that 6 is divisible by 1 and 6 itself, and simultaneously it is also divisible by 2 and 3. Or in other words, we can say that 6 has factors as 1, 2, 3 and 6. Means 6 has more than two factors. Therefore, 6 is a composite number. Another example may be 8, 9, 15 and so on. Hence, composite numbers are those numbers which are divisible by 1 itself and other numbers also. Let's move forward. Even numbers. All natural numbers which are divisible by 2 are even numbers. For example, 16, 8, 4, 20, 200, etc. Now, how can we recognize an even number? Any natural number having 0 or 2 or 4 or 6 or 8 as its unit digit are even numbers, because any number having 0, 2, 4, 6 or 8 as unit digit is divisible by 2. Hence, any natural number which is divisible by 2 is called even numbers. Let's move forward. Odd numbers. Just opposite to even numbers are odd numbers, means all natural numbers not divisible by 2 are odd numbers. For example, 17 or 3, or we can say 19 and so on. All these numbers are odd numbers because they are not divisible by 2. To recognize odd numbers, we should remember that any natural number having unit digit as 1 or 3 or 5 or 7 or 9 are odd numbers because they are not divisible by 2. Hence, all natural numbers not divisible by 2 are odd numbers, and odd numbers have as unit digit 1, 3, 5, 7 or 9, any of them. Now let's move to next. The next one is rational numbers. Rational numbers are those numbers which we can express in the form of p by q, where p and q are integers and q is not equal to 0. For example, 3 by 2. Here 3 by 2 is expressed in the form of p by q, where 3 and 2 both are integers and the denominator 2 is not equal to 0. Another example we can have as 4. 4 can also be written as 4 by 1, which is in the form of p by q, and 4 and 1 both are integers and this denominator 1 is not equal to 0. Rational numbers means rational numbers are those numbers which can be expressed in the form of p by q, where p and q both belong to integers and q is not equal to 0. Here it's quite evident that all natural numbers, whole numbers, integers, prime numbers, composite numbers, even numbers, odd numbers, all belong to rational numbers. Means all these numbers are rational numbers. Why? Because all these numbers can be expressed in the form of p by q. Let's move forward. Now the last one is irrational numbers. Irrational numbers are just opposite to rational numbers. Means irrational numbers are those numbers which cannot be expressed in the form of p by q. For example, square root of 2 or square root of 3. Similarly, square root of 7, etc. All these numbers are irrational numbers because they cannot be expressed in the form of p by q, as we have seen in the case of rational numbers. Further, rational numbers and irrational numbers, we will have another video, detailed video on rational numbers and irrational numbers. I hope in this video you may have availed a lot. Keep watching, keep learning.